Welcome in, everybody, to the Kickback Live Studios in New York City for the second straight day. I am not Susanna Fuller. I'm not even Michele Giannone. I am David Goss, the lowest upgrade that has ever happened. And we are here for another First Touch 26 daily show for what is going to be one of the biggest days of the World Cup, as the third of the host nations kicks off their second game with the USMNT national team facing off against Australia out in Seattle. Welcome into the studio, everyone. Everyone listening via podcast. David Goss alongside Matt Doyle and Michele. Michele, you filled in this spot yesterday. You were so good. I was going to take a second day off, but I felt like it's a big day for the U.S., so I had to be here.
I appreciate that. We need you today. It's going to be a long day. Because we're doing this, and then we're doing the post game. Yeah. Of course, we're watching the game. I'm pretty sure you have a great lunch place already picked for us. And everything.
Are we doing Persian food today? Was that the decision that was made while I was out yesterday?
I would do some Persian food, yeah. But we are just a block or two from K-Town. So.
Listen, I had the easiest job of my life yesterday. Just asking questions to this guy. He took care of everything. You should congratulate him.
I will say I was very touched because I felt 2 days ago, I came on the show, we talked Senegal, France a lot. And you were asking me questions about France, my belief, and I talked about Michael Olise a lot and his central role. And you touched on that a lot yesterday. You never mentioned me, but you touched on it a lot.
Fun,
so
yeah.
I felt like real expert level stuff.
I mean, there's a reason that Michele still thinks I'm the GOAT, right? I just take your expert views and repackage them and then present. Yeah, you get it.
Yeah. And I am here to be the fodder that you need. It was a great day yesterday. Obviously, I was standing in a packed crowd of sweaty BO New Yorkers screaming Nixon 5 for about 9.5 hours. And now I'm back, ready to do a little bit of World Cup
action.
Did
you do any twerking on light stand?
I did not do the lights, but I was up and around parades, and Josh Hart said he's getting in, so you never know where I am and what I'm doing. And I will say the World Cup was still a piece of it. It's really cool how it's integrated into, and it's funny on the flip side, like at Tom Bogert, who we love, at a place he works called The Athletic, I read a piece that was like what I learned from the first round of games in the World Cup. And one person was like, a surprise thing I learned I loved. And the first answer was just the Knicks, one word from some British writer. And you're like, yeah, welcome, baby. Welcome to the world. So I think there's a good crossover that's going on right now. But I promise you, this will not be basketball-wise. This will not be Knicks-wise. We will dig into everything you want to hear. As Michele said, we will be live on the SoccerWise channel the moment the final whistle goes for the U.S.-Australia game. It's the earliest of the games that the U.S. will play in the group stage, so we don't have to run Michele to a late train and get him on the last one up to Connecticut. We will be hanging out, and I would love if people joined. Get into the comments, talk to us, and I would love to answer questions and sort of interact with everyone. I want us to be the Sports Talk Radio post-game experience that you have always wanted for these big games, and the potential is huge. The U.S. could clinch their spot into the knockout rounds. There is the potential at the end of today that the U.S., like Mexico did yesterday, could clinch their spot at the top of the group, which would be the job that they all set out for. So we will dig into that game. We'll preview it. Obviously, we've already previewed it. So if you're listening to this and you want even more, me and Doyle did 40 minutes about this game, about these two teams, the U.S. and Australia already. We'll talk Mexico. We will talk Canada. We will talk about the games we saw yesterday. And then the other games coming up today, as Scotland, Morocco, Brazil, and Haiti will also be in action alongside Group D. But let's open it up with our three big things, and obviously me coming off my 24 hours of exploration throughout my entire experience, winning a championship, actually a double. Has your teams in basketball ever won a double?
Celtics did the Shield
they
championship
did.
double a couple years
Shield
ago.
Truthers are still here. So Doyle's going to pick up for me. He's got two. So we each get a big thing, and Doyle's got two of them. Doyle, you want to get us started?
Yeah, I mean, the first one is just the stories about the Tartan Army apparently drinking Boston Dry, which I tried in college a number of times and could not manage. But they like
beer balls for everyone. Yeah, no kegs.
Sam Adams had to call in like an emergency airlift of Boston Lager because the Scots have been drinking so much, which is kind of charming from afar. But I got to tell you, I don't know if I would want to
be a part of it.
Yeah, in it. Like maybe 25 years ago, but I don't.
I think Scotland fans are a light rowdy. I think they're like a casual, fun rowdy. I don't think it feels intense from the very little I've been around it.
All right. Well, I think
English rowdy is different.
So I agree with that in terms of national team stuff. Like the Tartan Army who come for these. I
Oh,
don't know if
Celtic Rangers. The game has to be at 9:30 a.m. so there's enough sunlight to get everyone home after. Yeah, I would agree on that one.
Yeah. So that was my first thing. It's just like one of those slice of life stories that we're getting from the like Boston and Glasgow have now become sister cities.
Which like how did that not already happen?
Right?
How was that not a thing? Yeah.
So just some charm. I am charmed by how charmed a lot of these visitors are by America because we've been in America for a while and it hasn't felt charming for about the past 10 years. So that's one. And then two is we talked about this a lot yesterday. And I think I might have stolen this observation from David Goss. Have you heard of him? About
this is
how
gonna be good.
the games were going to change in the second round of group stage games.
Yeah.
And that was yesterday.
Yep.
Right? We had the first real clunker of a game where it's like, oh, these two teams don't deserve to be here in Czechia and in South Africa. And then we had two where the talent differential got so huge that they turned into blowouts, though the Swiss, because they refused to start their best player, leave it for the last 15 minutes of the game. And then we had, look, man, both Mexico and South Korea were content to play for a 0-0. The only reason it was 1-0 is because there was a catastrophic error by the goalkeeper. And then even at 1-0, Hung-Min Bo was like, no, this is actually okay. We're going to get through with this. So it was cagier. It was much less entertaining, I think, overall than the first round of group stage games. I don't know what that portends for today.
Yeah. Michele?
I was going to do it about Mexico winning the group already and securing at least 2 more games at Estadio Azteca.
Did you see
if
the
not
crowd
at 3?
in Mexico City?
Yeah,
They're saying
booed.
400,000 people. No, in Mexico City.
Oh, in Mexico City at the
Fan
Fans Fest, that was amazing.
At
incredible.
where the Angels?
El
in the
Zócalo.
middle?
No, El Zócalo, where the Fan Fest is.
I think then everyone just marched to the
and then
to the main
so
downtown.
in Mexico City, every time a team that plays in Mexico City, like Cruz Azul, Pumas, or America, or the national team, they go celebrate in the Angel.
Yeah.
That's the meeting point. But the Fans Fest is at El Zócalo,
Right.
which is a big square where the House of Government is. So amazing, incredible, and this is just like winning the group
in a game that they hated their own team during.
Yeah, they started booing at halftime, and it's like that's how rough the Mexican crowd is. The pressure, right? Or I know what you mean. It's ridiculous that you're booing your team at halftime in the second game of the World Cup after winning the first one. Anyways, I was going to do it about that. I'm going to do it about Obed Vargas.
Okay.
What a moment. He came into the field. He was great.
Yeah, he was.
And we talk about this when we were watching Mexico. I told you, I don't think Obed Vargas is going to see minutes in this World Cup. And it's not that he just saw minutes. He made his debut at a crucial time. When the game is 1-0, you got to close it up, and he was great. And having that confidence from Javier Aguirre. And I also want to tie it up what dual national means and trying to, for all, especially the USMNT fans or US soccer fans that sometimes are so harsh with young players when they have the options of, I'm just going to talk Mexico and the USA, because people are crying about, we lost Brian Gutierrez, we lost Obed Vargas, we lost Julian Araujo in the past, we lost other players. And sometimes you see these mean and harsh comments at their socials or even when they're talking. I'm a dual national. So, for example, I grew up, part of my youth was in Venezuela, but I grew up in an Italian household. So I always felt more Italian than Venezuelan. And, when you're a kid, you think about, I'm going to be a professional soccer player. If I ever have to choose, I never had a doubt about choosing Italy over Venezuela. Never. Yeah. Even though I was living and going to school and playing soccer in youth soccer in Venezuela, I never had a doubt because I felt Italian. So when you see these kids that at the end make the right choice, like Obed Vargas, Brian Gutierrez, when you talk to them, they'll tell you, this country has given me all the opportunities, but when I'm home, I'm Mexican. Yeah. I grew up watching the Mexican national team. So watching Brian Gutierrez and Obed Vargas fulfilling their dreams, following their hearts, I love that. And hopefully this is a start for both of a great career. I'm that it already is.
And I know we've talked to Obed a number of times. He's an incredible person, incredible young person. I think if you ask him, and I think as he gets asked over his career, he is passionate about advancing the understanding of MLS and American soccer and the Seattle Sounders, right?
Yeah.
And he's doing all that through
and
the
that
Mexican
doesn't make
National
you
League.
less
He's not running
Mexican.
from it.
And playing for Mexico doesn't make you less Alaskan or less American. And less than a year ago, he was still on MLS.
Yeah.
He was playing in the All-Star game in Austin, and I went to sit down with him to do a feature on the Seattle Sounders that won the Concacaf Champions Cup. And I love his mentality also, because this is something that Liga MX has issues with.
Yeah.
The young Mexican players don't go out because they get very comfortable and with big salaries and playing for America, for Cruz Azul, for big teams, right? And I remember and I asked him, like, hey, what happens if America or Tigres comes for a big offer? And he said, I already told Seattle, no, I don't care. I want to go to Europe. And thankfully for the Seattle Sounders that worked with him, and now he's playing in freaking Atletico Madrid, right? So hopefully him and Guti are this generation. Gilberto Mora, instead of going, he already told Xolos and his representation, it doesn't matter if America comes with a $40 million offer, we're going to Europe.
Yeah.
That's what Mexico needs. They need more Obeds, they need more Brian Gutierrez, they need more Gilberto Mora, so I'm really happy.
Mora, like Santi Jimenez, has that parent who played, which I think gives a little bit more of a stern, I know where the faults can be, versus someone who they're getting in for the first time and they see the money and it's fair.
Yeah, Charlie Rodriguez.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be the next big thing, and he chose to play for Cruz Azul, big salary, and now he's not on the national team.
Obed Vargas, I think his grandparents live in Mexico and they don't travel out. So I think he was saying whether it was his debut last year or yesterday, it was the first time they'd seen him play in person when he plays for the Mexican national team. So pretty special moment for him, as you said. Before we dig into this game, I just off the top wanted to mention Ismail Kone for Canada. Broke his leg in the game yesterday, and all of the information we've gotten, including Moise Bombito going to the hospital and taking a photo with him, he is in good spirits. He is doing okay. He is having the surgery. He will obviously be out for the World Cup and for a long amount of time, but those injuries are really scary. And I think seeing him come off the field the way he did, at least conscious and sort of engaging with people, was really good to see. And all the information we've gotten since then has been really positive in terms of his overall health. But I know there's a ton of frustration in the Canadian side, and I think you saw it with Jesse Marsh, and we'll talk about that as we get into that game. But let's start with Group A. So we are into the second round of the group stage games. Yesterday, we opened up with Czechia versus South Africa, and that game ended as a 1-1 draw. Arguably the worst soccer game of the World Cup. Czechia scored the earliest goal of the tournament so far, 5 minutes and 7 seconds into the match, and then it was a late penalty for South Africa after a handball in the box that Mokeone put away in the 83rd minute. So that set the stage at 1-1, in which for South Korea and Mexico, a victory would have put you automatically in first place in the group. And Mexico ends up with the 1-0 victory in the late game. That one's in Guadalajara this time, so leaving Mexico City. And this is our NorthAmericanSoccer.com segment. Carry the crest as you represent your team this summer. You'll find the widest selection of World Cup gear at soccer.com. Get a free Gold Club membership with the purchase of any World Cup jersey using code KICKBACK. As a reminder, the Gold Club is the longest running and largest soccer loyalty program in the country, providing members with a lifetime of savings and rewards. And if you go get your Mexico jersey, you got a guarantee of at least one more week to rep that thing. And you can do so in Mexico if you want to, because as you said, Mexico locks up top place in Group A. That means the round of 32, they will play in Mexico City. If they were to win, they would guarantee a spot in the round of 16. Also in Mexico City, it is the first time that Mexico has ever won their first two games at a World Cup and kept a shutout. It's the third time they've ever won their first two games at the World Cup. Michele, you said it, is a big moment for this team. 2 games into an unknown cycle, Javier Aguirre gets hired in the middle. They get booed at home, 8 months ago against Uruguay in a 0-0 draw against a world powerhouse. You lose your goalkeeper in the 6 months before. You've got the bizarre camp where you make half the players in Liga MX leave the playoffs to come to. Then some of them don't even make the final roster. You put the team together. You get Julian Quinones to declare for Mexico over Colombia. There's been a lot of chaos. And I think you could argue it was all worth it because the point they've landed at is they're going to win their group at a home World Cup.
Yeah, first check done, right? Winning the group and staying in Mexico City. We saw what we were talking before the World Cup. This is the way Mexico is going to win games in the World Cup. Listen, is it going to be enough to advance over the quarterfinals? I don't think so. But can they make it? Yes. Playing like this and given the possible rivals on the round of 32, round of 16, maybe you don't know, round 16, you're looking at a Mexico-England game, right, and Estadio Azteca. In the altitude, the heat, I don't know how that's going to affect England.
There's no Jerry World.
No. So this is Javier Aguirre ball, Mallorca ball. And listen, Mallorca made a Copa del Rey final under Aguirre. We talked it before the World Cup. This is going to be the Mexico that is going to be scrappy. They're going to be really good defensively. They're going to need a few saves from his goalkeeper, and he was a big talking point because, like you said, Malagon got injured. We're not talking about Malagon. He's not a stellar goalkeeper, but he plays for America. He's pretty good.
He had very clearly won this spot.
Clearly. Now you get Tala Rangel, who's the Chivas goalkeeper, and Mexico in the goalkeeping position, he's kind of the same boat with the U.S. You have an okay goalkeepers. You just ask them to not lose the game. Mm-hmm. You have to make the average saves. Like last night, Rangel made above average save to save the game, but that's all you can ask. The rest, it's being scrappy, being good with the ball, being cohesive, being really good defensively. And this is the way Mexico is going to win games. We spoke about this. They're going to win 1-0, 2-1. And I bookmark this moment. I promise you that the round of 32, we're going to see a tactical change with Mexico. They're going to play a back five. When Cesar Montes comes back, it's going to be Cesar Montes, Edson Alvarez, and Johan Vázquez. They're going to play with two forwards, Quiñones and Raúl, and they're going to take out Alvarado, who yesterday played basically as a wingback. We saw Mexico defending with 5 at some point. You have Gallardo on the left, and you're going to take out Alvarado or you're going to take out Jorge Sanchez, and they're going to play 5-3-2. I can guarantee you that because that's the way Mexico is going to win the games and keep advancing in the World Cup.
And to bring it back to one of the videos that I did for the Football Manager social videos, everybody in the world is trying to get to a 3-2-4-1 shape, not Mexico. Because of the way Quiñones plays on the left, they get to a 3-2-3-2 shape, and a 3-5-2 kind of, or 5-3-2 if you want to call it that, kind of lends itself pretty naturally to that point. And the thing that we've seen from Mexico for 2 games, they're not a very flowing in possession. Like they don't change play. Like they're not making clever runs. It's all pretty linear. Yeah. So if that is your strength, then just play directly to it from the start. And they had real trouble with South Korea, like bottling them up. Coming out of the first half hydration break, I think Korea had the ball for like the next 20 minutes of the game. And it was stunning because, we all, having grown up in Concacaf, you think of Mexico as the team with 65% possession.
Right.
And that is not what this Mexican team has been for the past couple of years. And it's not what they've been for the past, even against South Africa, they were uncomfortable using the ball to pull South Africa apart. It was stuff off the press or it was long balls into the channels. 3-5-2 kind of lends itself to that. We know Quiñones can do it. Jimenez up top is really good, playing that sort of English style, big target man, center forward. Where he spent most of his career. And the other thing is Brian Gutierrez has been disappointing. I think he's been in good spots. But he hasn't turned that into advantage. So maybe you drop him for Obed, who made a case for himself, and that gives you a little bit more solidity defensively in central midfield. Make it tough to play through, turn that into transition moments, get Quiñones into the open field.
No one gave the memo that El Tri gave their goalkeepers of don't lose the game for us to Sung-Kyu Kim, who in theory lost the game for his team, comes out to try and claim a high ball. It's not really a dangerous moment. It was not a win of 50-50 aerially on a cross that otherwise
You could see what he was
in.
doing, though, because it was the first time in 45 minutes that Mexico had actually pushed a couple of guys forward. He was coming off to grab that, and he had, I think it was to his left, like Tim Howard versus Algeria style long throw to get South Korea into transition. Like you could see him lining that up, and he did not execute. I mean,
in theory, he should have punched it because he's got bodies underneath him, and he's coming out. The ball's coming in with some pace, but then you can't throw it out if you don't punch it. And then on the flip side, as you said, Rangel made the one huge save that was required of him. Double save, yeah. I thought it was save, post, save.
I think it was save. Then as he was falling, he kicked it.
Right.
And then he caught it.
Yeah.
So I think that counts as
people
three.
are saying it's the spirit of Merlin the goose who was
I don't
right
think
there
there's any question.
holding that
Merlin
ball
has
out.
a girlfriend now. Susanna is keeping us abreast of all the waterfowl-related romances in Mexico in the group chat these days.
Suze will be joining us for a moment later in the show.
She's going to spike the football, ain't she?
She has a little bit of celebration to do on this show. On the flip side, so South Korea, overall strong performance. Do we think they know that if they finish second in the group, they play in LA? And I don't know if you've noticed, but LA K-Town has been bumping for the last week for these games. This felt very much like everyone knew the deal in the room, and it wasn't, let's throw everything forward and maybe expose ourselves. It was like a 1-0 loss here. We now go play South Africa, who are, in my mind, very clearly the worst team in this group. And if we take care of business, we're second place. It's not the worst place to be in.
That's what I read it as. They even once they were down 1-0, they were very clearly like, this is still an acceptable result. Obviously, they wanted the 0-0, or better yet, but they weren't going to risk. First of all, they weren't going to empty their tanks at altitude, trying to get back into the game.
Although it is where they are training, so they're base camped in Guadalajara.
True, but they also have a number of guys who are it's
old.
Yeah, the guys they took off, including Son, are in their mid-30s or approaching their mid-30s. And okay, we have business to take care of in the third game, which they should. If they play the way they did against Czechia and Mexico against South Africa, they'll score 3 or 4 goals, and they're not giving up 3 or 4 to the South African team.
Hugo Bruce, the head coach of South Africa, said, quote, "I'm very proud of my team. This is Bafana Bafana. We love good football. We are aggressive. We create chances. Yes, we made mistakes, but I'm very proud of the performance today."
I don't want to dunk on them.
This guy's kind of been a pain in the ass just globally for the last 12 months, so I don't mind doing it to him. He's clearly an angry old dude. He said the weirdest stuff about Mbokaze a few months back that I don't even understand in what language the phrasing came out of. And he has built this team as a defensive force. That's what they are, and that was always my worry, is what you saw at AFCON is what we've seen over the first 2 games. Unless it's overwhelming numbers going forward and it's 4 guys on the back post trying to get on a cross, there are no ideas in this team. And Czechia have very few as well.
I was hate watching this game.
Yeah.
Hate watching. Yeah. Like, I was happy that...
but the Knicks won 5, baby. You gotta love into your heart. It's okay.
It's...
Do you think that Jalen Brunson is better than Luka Doncic?
Rings. It's the only thing that matters.
I'm not... I have a Luka Doncic jersey, so I'm not...
Oh, cool.
I don't want to...
I didn't know that.
With the championship MVP patch on it? Does it say...
Actually, maybe it's worth something because it's like a retro Mavs jersey. I
don't know. Nico Harrison can buy it from you.
Oh. So, I was very happy when South Africa scored because what Czechia did was just like... Yeah. Like, I hate you all. Like, you guys need to not win this game. Yeah. Like, they scored and they said, okay, we're good. We're not going to play anymore. We're done. And then great, because now that result helped Mexico clinch in the group already. Done.
Do we think Pavel Bucha would have helped this team, the Czech team? Because they don't have ball progression through central midfield, right? And Bucha's very, very good at that. I don't know.
So for Mexico, as we said, they clinched first place in the group. They will play the third place team. I believe all 3 hosts got lucky groups, aka you win your group, you're one of the 8 that plays. A third place team, we've never seen this before. So like the way it's laid out is like, here's the 9 different groups it could come from. I have no idea how it's going to work, so it's hard to game it out and really guess. But as we said, that game will be in Mexico City. And then the winner of Group L, which is England's group, they will be playing their round of 32 in Atlanta. And the winner of that will come to Mexico City to play in the round of 16. If Mexico were to continue to progress, they would move to Miami for the quarterfinals and Atlanta for the semifinal. It's a pretty good setup from a travel point of view. Yeah. It's a pretty good setup in terms of they'll probably be more used to most of this than their opponents. And it will be
they play home games in Mexico or in Miami and Atlanta all the time.
Yeah.
you know?
Miami less. It's not
That's
really.
true.
It's
Yeah,
going to depend on the rival. It's going
more-
to depend on the rival.
Yeah.
I will just love to see. We're not going to see it, but Mexico has the quality and the depth to play so much better than what they're doing. But Aguirre is not going to change his ideals already. So
And
what
he
we
also,
saw last night.
which I think is he's kind of like expendable style. He doesn't care. This is his last thing.
Yeah,
This is
absolutely, yeah.
I mean, if he gets hired to coach Mexico again, things have gone wrong and we're in trouble. But that's part of why you hired him was he doesn't have the pressure to develop the way they play or to change the perception of his job is to do 1% more than the other team and just fall over the line into at least a quarterfinal. And then it's job well done. He's going to be national hero, Medal of Honor, whatever phrase it's called, and he's going to ride off as a superhero in Mexican history. And that's all he needs, and that's, I think, why he probably ended up being the right guy for this job. We'll obviously continue talking about these teams a ton as we go forward. Let's switch now to Group B, though. We had Switzerland versus Bosnia and Herzegovina, which I think for me felt like the biggest game of the group, because I thought these were the second and third best teams facing off. And obviously everyone in this group came in sitting on 1 point after drawing 1-1 in their first game. And Switzerland explodes late in this one and may have reset expectations for themselves, as well as they thought changed the perception of the group going forward until Canada stepped on the field against Qatar a little bit later. It was a triple sub at the 71st minute and then a goal in the 74th minute. Ruben Vargas comes off the bench as well, and they scored 3 in like a 9-minute span, and they end up winning 4-1 in this game. And then Canada, of course, the other game in this group, they go to Vancouver, which has been for large stretches of the last 2 decades the one place that they can get a pro-Canada crowd. Most
crowd.
of their World Cup qualifying has
Edmonton
been there.
erasure.
What?
Edmonton erasure.
Yeah. Well, that was still only the last cycle.
Fair.
I mean, we're talking pre-Hex playing qualifiers to get into the Hex against Honduras with Junior Hoylett as the only professional player on the field at times 12 years ago. And it was BC Place. And the place was bumping and it was locked in. And I don't have all the lists of records. A lot of what Canada did yesterday is the first time ever, whether it's for any team, whether it's for a CONCACAF team, which was really big, or a non-South American, non-UEFA team. And then, of course, for Canada, it is their first ever victory in a World Cup. And it comes in a 6-0 victory over Qatar. 2 red cards in this game, and, of course, the Kone injury, which we talked about. But it's not the same level of opponent as last World Cup where it was Morocco, Croatia in the group stage. You want to make history, though. Canada took care of business.
When you play a weak team, you're supposed to bury them and give Canada all the credit for doing that. Give Jesse Marsh and you guys the credit for saying that Kyle Larin should start because he made that change up top. And it was Kyle Larin who opened the floodgates. And you could see once that first goal went in, then Jonathan David suddenly was infused with confidence. And it was a snowball rolling downhill. Like there were sarcastic claps and cheers anytime Maxime Crépeau touched the ball, which happened rarely, even when it was 11v11. We focused a lot on when our Bombito and Alphonso Davies going to be back, and Bombito played in this game, and it was good to see him out there. But man, Ali Ahmed makes a ton of difference out there, whether he's playing on the right or the left. His set piece delivery wasn't great, but his presence, he has this gravity and this ability to unlock space, and give Canada all the credit in the world for doing a lot with that space, which they struggled with against Bosnia and Herzegovina.
He's more multifaceted than any of the other quote-unquote wide players in this team. He doesn't mind being inside in possession. He will defend. He can go out wide. He'll take guys one-on-one. Liam Miller's very one-note. Tejan Buchanan is as well. It's just an elite note. Ali Ahmed brings a little bit more quality in there. And as Doyle said, for Canada, if you're going to be the better team, if you go up a man, take care of business. And as that first half wore on, I was like, it's going to be okay. They're going to be up 2-0 going into halftime. And then they really put the final nail in the coffin, which just allowed everyone to exhale and have this moment. And that's where it feels like a level of maturity from this group that we haven't seen in the past.
Yeah, and going back to the forwards, right? We saw it against Bosnia. Ghana should have won that game. Mm-hmm. But Jonathan David didn't score, and he scored on this game. Yeah. And with forwards and strikers, about confidence. But I do think, and going back to the Kyle Larin, and sometimes it's about the chemistry. Yeah. And we didn't touch upon this, but I wanted to ask you yesterday because we saw this with Minnesota United. We never saw like Kelvin Javoa and Tani being good together. Right. So and we clearly didn't see Tani with Jonathan David being good together on the first game. Right. So now we're seeing that definitely Jonathan David feels better in space, maybe in confident chemistry because he's been playing with Kyle Larin for years now in the national team. And this is nothing against Oluwaseyi.
No, fantastic
but it's just sometimes just about chemistry, you know, and about taking the chances. And yes, they're playing probably the weakest team or the second weakest team in the World Cup, but this is what you need to do. Boom, 6-0. And obviously it sucks. And the vibes now are not what it should be the next day before what happened with Ismael Koneda. Now I feel bad that I put some more pressure on him yesterday after saying that he basically was hidden from the ball or hiding from the ball on the first game. But I think Saliba could do a good role replacing him. So I don't think the drop-off is going to be that massive. But still, having Kone or not having Kone, it's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, Kone is a game breaker. You talked about Cole Palmer a little bit yesterday in England. Kone can be part of game management, but then break. Yeah. Saliba's less of a game breaker. He normally does it because he's so clean and his quality. And I think you saw it with the free kick. And I think shows the culture a little bit of this group that immediately during the game that it happens, they already are pulling up Kone's jersey, celebrating him. Dane St. Clair, I think, was the one off the bench passing it along. Saliba's obviously a Montreal kid. He's a CF Montreal Academy kid. Ismael Kone's from Montreal as well. And a lot of these players go back their entire lives because it's a very small player pool. A picture went out yesterday of Jonathan David and Alphonso Davies captaining the U15 national team together 10 years ago or whatever it was at this point. And now they're captaining the full national team at this World Cup. Jonathan David, the hat trick. So a big day for him. He is the first player to score a World Cup hat trick for a host nation since 1966. Wow. And as I said, everything about this unprecedented. Canada, it's the largest win by a CONCACAF team at a World Cup. A number of the shot numbers that they put together, as well as touches in the final third, box touches, are the most we've seen in 50 or 60 years. I mean, they went up a man early. They went up 2 at some point, but they just obliterated Qatar. And Switzerland should have done this.
I hadn't even looked at the box touches. They had 97 box touches. You know how many Mexico had against South Korea? 6.
Stop. Wow. Yeah. This is a one-of-one experience. And I was texting with my Canadian friends after, and as you said, the Kone stuff changes it a bit. Qatar expectations there, but this is why when that draw happened, I said this is a great situation because for whatever people think of Switzerland and Bosnia and Herzegovina, which I would disagree with most of it, this Qatar team was red meat, and a win gets you through. And now 4 points is definitely going to be enough to get you through. For Canada, they would like to win the group, and because of the amount of goals they scored, they put themselves in a pretty good spot because Switzerland had reset the goal differential issue for them in that they didn't beat Qatar, but they put up 3 on Bosnia. Canada goes out, they annihilate Qatar, and now you're in a situation where a draw head-to-head for Switzerland and Canada in the next game means Canada will lock up the group.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Canada's not going to play for a draw. Yeah. I just don't think they're made that way. This group is a collective, and then obviously under Jesse Marsch, he does not really believe in that. They're going to go out 1,000 miles an hour.
What do you think, talking about that, what do you think they're going to do with Alphonso Davies now? Because he didn't see minutes yesterday.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
I thought...
No.
With the way that game...
I wouldn't have...
The last half hour of that game, like, even after the red card...
Do you think that Kone shocked, like... was a big part of the decision.
I said this in the first Qatar game. There are moments where the Qatar players don't feel like they're at the speed of the game,
and they become dangerous.
And it becomes dangerous. Yeah.
So what do you do with?
And I've
with
seen
Davis
this, by the way, at the youth levels with Qatari teams.
He has to play.
Oh yeah. But like the last half hour, whatever the score is, you bring him in for that, right?
You
ramp him up.
pre-decide how many minutes you want, in what game states,
Yeah.
and you bring him off the bench.
I think it's no matter the game state.
Well, I think there's probably a scenario where you say, we want a good, clean 30 minutes. And if it's tied 1-1 and intense, maybe that becomes 20 minutes. That's where I mean game states of like, you don't
It's Alphonso Davies. They're
you
only,
have to put him in bubble wrap. It's Alphonso Davies. That's the problem.
Their only hope for a deep run
Yeah.
is for him to be fit. And I don't think the difference between 30 and 20 minutes in a 1-1, like if he's good to go for 30 minutes, you play him 30 minutes.
I agree.
I don't think you downgrade that because of the score line of the.
Yeah, I don't care about the scoreline or what the game is dictating. It's Switzerland. It's not Qatar.
Yeah.
So I don't think Switzerland is gonna do
No, for sure.
So
Yeah.
he has to see some minutes.
So if they win the group, they'd stay in Vancouver, which would obviously be huge.
Big
It would
deal.
also line them up in a spot where a round of 16 would be in Vancouver as well. If they finish second, they would probably play South Korea in LA.
It's a bad
So
spot.
it's a winnable game.
Yep.
It will be an away game, that's for sure.
Yep.
And there's a lot riding on this performance from the Swiss. What do you make of what they did and sort of where they
They were
stand?
terrible for 70 minutes, and then they brought in Johan Manzambi, and he completely changed the game. Like, we're going to talk about a lot of young players throughout the course of this tournament. We should take a minute and talk about him at some point because his ability to play all over the midfield in attack, to find little pockets of space, drive the game forward, then be dangerous in the box, either threading balls through or making the messy run to get on the pullback at the penalty spot, or actually bursting through the lines and stretching he checks every single box, and it is negligence that he's not he's the only thing that makes Switzerland interesting in attack, and he single-handedly changed that game. That was headed for a 0-0 draw, and then he came on, and the Swiss were suddenly 3 orders of magnitude better.
Shaka ties Shaqiri as the only Swiss player to score in 3 different World Cups. They are the face of the national team, and they have been for the last 2 decades. And they've basically changed the reality for Switzerland. This was not a team that was a contender at this level almost ever. And now it's been a huge run for them, and they will probably find their way into the next round, but we don't know 100% yet. So if you take a look at the Group B standings, if you're listening, I can read out loud for you. But Canada sits on top right now on 4 points because of their goal differential, +6. Switzerland are +3 goal differential on 4 points, and then Bosnia-Herzegovina and Qatar tied. So for Bosnia, a win against Qatar, you're probably into the next round as the best third-place team. 4 points is going to be more than enough to get there. There are probably some work you want to do on the goal differential side to get yourself a little bit cleaner, but the assumption was 3 points and -2 would get you through.
Yeah.
So 4 points is probably enough, and then it becomes how well you do, who do you get matched up against. But there's not really, I don't think, much control in that.
And I will say, like, looking at those standings, like, just because of the nature of the 48-team tournament, there's real incentive for both Canada and Switzerland to play a really cynical draw.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll happen. Like I said, Jesse Marsh, this Canadian group, I don't think they're like that. But it would guarantee both teams go through. Obviously, Canada would get that first place and stay in Vancouver. And if you're the Swiss, you take that second place against South Korea. I don't think the Swiss would be intimidated by that. I think they would be fine with that. So this is one of the, like, I still like the 32-team tournament better because it doesn't avoid these scenarios entirely, but it limits them.
Here's the flip side, though. In the 32-team format, Qatar and Bosnia are eliminated.
Yeah.
And that becomes the worst soccer game ever played. Now they play them simultaneous, so maybe you just didn't watch. But both games then become this weird, how much do we put in? Because no one in the 32-team format really was going to care enough unless you're against France, and you know you'd be against France, to play the last game as hard as you possibly could because you would be limiting the minutes so that you're ready to go along. That's where I think this final match day becomes more interesting because technically no one is eliminated.
So the game between the worst teams becomes more interesting, but the game between the best teams becomes less interesting.
As the great Bobby said, everyone just cares about death and drama. Yeah. That's the only thing that matters. And the drama of qualifying or not qualifying is the biggest thing. Jonathan David's hat trick moved him into a tie with Messi for the leader in the Golden Boot. It also then connects back to our Golden Boot draft as someone selected Jonathan David, and we have a little bit of a message here from Susanna Fuller.
Good morning, fam. And it is a good morning indeed, because guess who is sitting on top of our Golden Boot race standings? This girl! Thank you very much. I had said needed big performances from Harry Kane, check. Luis Diaz, check. A Jonathan David hat trick, though, did not see that coming. In their 6-0 rout of Qatar, the only blemish on that one was the injury to Ismail Kone, which was horrific. But yeah, 7. My guys have 7. All of my players have scored except Sonny, and he didn't look that threatening last night. But there's still time. Anyway, I'm feeling good. I hope you guys are too. Lot of tournament left, guys. Don't worry. Don't worry. But I miss y'all. You're doing great, holding it down back there. I'm watching every morning, and yeah, can't wait to be back. See ya.
I will say what my wife would say is that a Jeep? You got that tire hanging out the back there. That looks like a Jeep. Sue is living her best life, magnanimous in victory, as you would expect. Coming in hot. She
there was no spiking the football on the 30-yard line. She's ahead and she's letting us know.
Yeah.
But she's not like doing a touchdown dance.
And of course, Denis Undav, who played only one so far, had already scored for her. It was the only goal she had coming into the day. Michele, you were not in Chicago, so we don't have a team for you. So if you'd like,
it's okay.
You can represent Tom's or Suze's when they're not here. It's up to you. If you would not like to, you can be a part of our sad
I'll keep
teams.
rooting for Suze. It's okay.
This is the actual Golden Boot up on screen for the World Cup that we have. Messi and Jonathan David are tied. Technically, Messi's in first on less minutes played because he's more goals per game, but obviously has played less games. And then Kai Havertz, Erling Haaland, Kylian Mbappe, Flo Balogun, all of them are sitting on 2 goals through 1 game. So they are all currently sitting in second place. So we had all the superstars arrive 2 days ago where Mbappe and Haaland scored 2 and Messi scored 3. And then Jonathan David puts his name in there. And this was one of the convos we had, which was with the 48 teams, there's some free spaces in this. A Golden Boot winner is probably going to stack goals in either that game or maybe a round of 32 game, and Johnny David did his job there.
He did. It was, like you said, they were red meat, and Canada took them apart. And Jonathan David, the best thing for Canada out of this game is Moise Bombito being back for 45 minutes. The second best thing is okay, the nerves are gone for Jonathan David. He can be dangerous now, and seeing that synergy and the way that Kyle Larin occupied center back so David could float, it really works. I think that's probably Canada's identity going forward.
All right, Canada and Mexico took care of business yesterday. Today, it is the U.S. men's national team playing at noon local time, 3 p.m. Eastern time against Australia out in Seattle at the home of the Seattle Sounders, the only team in MLS to have won a regional championship, and now the U.S. is trying to make it their home. They have waited for grass to be on this field for a long time so they could play a game like this. In this location, it is going to be a 1-of-1 crowd. And don't forget, the American Outlaws is the best way to enjoy the U.S. men's national team wherever you are. They have watch parties in over 200 locations around the country. And if you're going to be in Seattle or LA, the 2 games we know of, make sure to follow them on social so that you can go out to their pregame tailgates, go out to their night before parties. It is the best way to follow the U.S. men's national team. I have been a member since, I think, 2008, 2009, whatever it was when I first joined, and I've gone to watch parties in cities all over the country to watch the U.S. play, and I think it's a place people are going to want to be because this team is trending in the right direction. So, this game coming up today, I've had a few days to sit with it. What's your first few thoughts as you get ready for them kicking off later this afternoon?
One, I think this is going to be the best crowd USMNT game has ever had. I've been in Seattle. I've never been in a louder environment than when I did. I was on the sideline on the field when I did the Concacaf Champions final, Seattle Pumas. It was unbelievable. I couldn't hear my producer, and he was next, where you were, next to me. Second,
I couldn't hear Weeby, and it was great.
Second, and I'm going to be that guy, I'm going to take the exit ramp. Christian Pulisic is sitting in the stands today.
Okay. We have some comments in the chat about this.
No risk. This game is not do or die. The USMNT can win this game without Christian Pulisic, and I'm not taking anything against Australia. I think Australia is going to be a much tougher game than what we saw against Paraguay. Just the risk reward with 3 points already in the back and the format. Christian Pulisic, if I'm Pochettino, is not seeing the field. He's not even sitting on the bench. Well, he's going to be sitting on the bench, but let's take the old school format and put him in a box, in a suite, in the stands, wherever you want with her family. Christian Pulisic is not seeing the field today if I'm the coach.
Yeah. I don't know if I feel that way. I think if you can play him 15 minutes, you probably want to play him 15 minutes just to get some more World Cup reps for him and to make sure he doesn't have all kinds of rust for the third group stage game, because Australia can 100% win this game, with or without Christian Pulisic. The U.S. could play well, and Australia could still win this game because Australia is a really good defensive team, and they know who they are. And when you know who you are as a team, when you have that identity and you own it, that kind of allows you to play with clarity and allows you to suffer in a deep block, and you still have those moments everybody recognizes to be dangerous. And that's a lot of what we saw against Turkey. Now, Turkey were indisciplined in a lot of ways. The second goal in particular, first goal, it was really nicely done by Australia to set up that long ball into the channels. I don't think the U.S. will be that indisciplined. So that's one, making sure that the rest defense, that the rotations and triggers are all clear. And two is I went back and I watched the October friendly. And the first 10 minutes, man, Australia's all over the U.S., setting the physical tone. The U.S. can't give Australia those 10 minutes this time. Like the U.S. have to go out there and be the first to arrive physically, set the tone, and then beat him at the soccer.
And this feels like a Tyler Adams job, right? Where he's the guy who does that in a strong way. He's the guy who leads that, I think, and the other players react off him and feed off of him. And I think he could be a huge factor in that way.
It's on a yellow, by the way.
He is on a yellow.
So he wants him to pick it up on purpose.
So that was, it had somehow escaped my attention, the fact that yellows are wiped after the group stage. So I don't know. So there is no cause for him to take, an intentional yellow in this one. But if you have to, then you have to.
You got to do your job. And for the U.S., we won't know, but they have the potential sitting where Mexico sat, where if they win today, they could clinch the spot, whether it's top or just qualify.
Not top. They can clinch.
They can clinch.
If Turkey doesn't win.
Yeah.
Right. But, we're expecting that Turkey's going to beat.
You're assuming a team that everyone picked to beat Australia to now beat Paraguay?
Yes.
I thought Paraguay had the midfield of the century.
I'm expecting Türkiye.
That's do whatever you want.
Way. Turkey. To beat Paraguay, and not just the in Turkey. I think Montella, his coach, he made some questionable squad selections.
You think?
Yes, and going back to the U.S. What scares me the most about this Australian team is that, like you said, it's going to be a very physical game. And Australia is going to trying to impose that physicality. You've seen it on the press conferences. The players are very motivated for that game. I don't know where this rivalry was born. I don't know if Michele Grella or Mike Grella.
Hey, come get your people over there, Syria, Michele. So deal with it.
The thing that worries me the most is that other iterations of the USMNT, ergo Greg Berhalter's teams, had difficult always with these type of teams. With low block teams, with teams that are very good in offensive transition. So that's why what you said about Tyler Adams is very important. But it also scares me that he's on a yellow. Because if Australia is physical in the midfield, I don't see how Tyler Adams, if he needs to perform and do what Tyler Adams needs to do, I don't see how he comes out of this game clean. If he gets a yellow today, he misses.
But if you win today, you've clinched. Whether you've clinched the group or not, we won't know until later tonight. But you've clinched, and it would be job done with him.
Absolutely. So, again, I think I'm still standing on my Christian Pulisic position. I think he shouldn't see the field today. I think
and what would you do in his place?
I will be trying to protect Tyler. I will be much more conservative. I will play Seb Berhalter next to Tyler,
and you push Malik
and
up.
push Malik
Yeah.
down.
Would there be any consideration for putting Christian Roldan next to Tyler? Because Roldan was man of the match when these two teams played. Like
If
he had
Christian
2 assists.
Roldan starts in Seattle, the building will crumble.
Oh, that's a good point.
They
hadn't even considered that.
They will literally, they do the meter to see if the ground's shaking.
Listen,
Marshawn Lynch, take a seat if Christian Roldan starts.
I don't like to follow like social media crumbs, but if you see social media posts on Christian Roldan pages and Sounders page and the USMNT page, I wouldn't be shocked if he's in the starting 11.
Tinfoil hat over here.
Yeah,
I like
know.
that.
Listen,
Just saying.
I've come back around from my previous stuff. I just start Tim Weah. I think I play Serginho Dest as the second 10, and I just start Tim Weah. Come on.
Wait, so you would move Dest inside to a position he's never played before?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd start Tim Weah.
So
Because no one will let me start Tim Weah there. So now I got to create this whole freaking scenario where the Ajax kid has to start inside.
the point I made in my preview newsletter is that the way you attack a back five that's going to sit low with 3 like relatively immobile center backs, because we don't think Lucas Harrington is going to start for Australia. And Australia's center backs are good and they're smart and they're big. They're not super great side to side. You have to pull them out and then hit in behind with like really sharp and aware runs. And that is Christian Pulisic's biggest strength as a soccer. The space he attacks off the ball. Looking through the options that the U.S. that Pochettino has to replace Pulisic if he can't go, I mean, Dest doesn't make those runs.
Yes.
You know, I think Weah does.
Yeah, he does.
Aronson makes them relentlessly on both sides of the ball. I just don't love what he actually does with the ball when he gets it. Zendejas can make those runs, but he comes to the ball a little bit more often. And obviously then it's Gio Reyna, who never makes those runs at all. He's never going to attack space in behind, but he can make the moment of magic if you have someone else there.
And I think the Berhalter option is also that's what because of his value on set pieces. If you don't have, but not that Pulisic, it's Pulisic. If Berhalter is on the field, nobody should even approach the ball. But what you said is lunacy. Like you need Serginho Dest on the wing, taking 1v1s and trying to beat the low block. And if you put in a sub 10, what is he gonna do?
He's going to be on the ball the most amount possible because he has the best feet on the team.
Yeah, but he doesn't have. He playing as a 10
matter.
doesn't have the space.
He doesn't have the best awareness.
It doesn't matter. He has the best feet on the team. When
No,
you're
it
trying
does
to
He's
pull
gonna
guys
lose
out
a
and be around
million
people.
balls playing as a
Yeah,
10.
that's a safe place to do it because guess who's behind you? Tyler Adams and Malik Tillman.
And then Tyler gets a yellow because Serginho Dest loses the
totally
ball.
fine. And then you win
This
the
is
game
like
and moves on.
Klinsmann-brained stuff to play a guy in a position he's never played before in an actual game that
To be
matters.
clear, everything
wanna play well.
Pochettino's
He
doing,
just
you've
wants
never
to play
done
well.
before
He just wants
because
to
he
play well.
just became coach of the team. Okay.
Let me give you another option.
No.
Let me give you another option. Another option.
I don't want other options, Michele.
Another option. Move Jedi next to Tyler. Play Serginho on the left. And
Oh,
play
so
Weah
now
on the
you're
right.
playing a guy that you've never
He
played
has
that
played as
position
an 8.
before.
No, he has played as
Get
an 8
out of
before.
here. Okay.
Why not?
You guys are both insane.
One thing to flag for everyone, I think.
I'm trying to amuse him.
One thing to flag for everyone going to this game, for me, on the Australia side of things, an hour before this game, the lineup will come out. The 3 things I'm looking at is in goal. Beach made his international debut in the first game. He made
Really
the
good.
most saves of any person. Matt Ryan has been the face of this team for the last 7-8 years. I will be interested to see how Popovich handles that. Jackson Irvine, who is the captain of this team, who did not get the start in the last game, who I think brings a level of physicality, which I think this team will want in a moment like this. He also has more experience in central midfield. And then the last is, obviously, Iracunda was the star of the game. He is very young. It's a very young front line. Do you manage him and use him as a super sub if you need him when you need him, or do you rely on him again? And I think from what I've seen from at least Australian fans, Australian media, those are the 3 main talking points coming into this game of question marks. Otherwise, everyone else is pretty locked into their position, and it should be the same as what you saw in the last game. So I think for U.S. fans, those will give you a little bit of the weather vane of how Popovich sees this matchup, what he's worried about, maybe what he's focused on, and then we will be here live post-game. So immediately when this thing is done, or if it's a blowout, maybe even sooner, in either direction, we will be on this show and we will be chatting and hanging out. So make sure to come here to Soccer Wise and enjoy. And if you miss it live, you can go back and watch it on YouTube, as you can watch all of our daily shows. And we will post it to our podcast feed so you can hang out there. But before we get there, we know that the U.S. is going to step into this game in a pretty clean kit because the kits they've brought to this World Cup are pretty good. But we do have a soccer.com segment here. Don't forget to go to soccer.com to get your USMNT kits and the widest selection of World Cup product, free shipping on orders over $49. And the question that I posed to you guys before we started was, what is the best USMNT kit? And you guys started to rattle off pretty quickly. Yeah. So I've got a couple of them up here if Derek wants to pop me on. And this was the first answer you had, which was, I believe, from you, Doyle.
Yeah, the Waldos. I like an iconic look for a national team. I loved the Waldos because it's the second kit we've ever had where you see it and you immediately know who's playing. Anybody in the world would see that and be like, oh, that's the United States. Yeah. And I think it looks sharp as well. And I like the fact that they riffed on those for the World Cup this year.
If you're listening to the podcast, I have an image up right now of the Waldos. It is Mix Diskerud, Landon Donovan, Kyle Beckerman, and Breck Shea.
It has to be 2013 Gold Cup. Yeah.
What a life we have lived as USMNT fans. So then after that, after the Waldos, you mentioned reverse Waldos. Yeah.
Gold Cup 2017. Shout out Dax McCarty, my boy, my guy. Well, he's not a boy, he's a guy.
Yeah.
Very
So this is the blue filling in the white, so it's red and blue.
Yeah.
And you like it.
I love that kit. I think
a little bit of a heavy look to me.
It is a heavy look, but again, it's iconic, right? Like you look at that, nobody else in the world of soccer has this kit. This would be ours.
Yeah.
We need to own a kit. This is, the stripes and the way that they are. It's the obvious second kit.
Tom Dwyer came out flying in this Gold Cup. I think Kellen Rowe had like 3 assists in the opening group stage game.
Yes.
We did a post-game show about this with Ziggy Schmidt, which was a really fun time. Yeah.
Wow. That's McCarty.
Obviously, everyone else will talk about the 1994 denim kit, which has now been brought back by Adidas in a newer version, which I think is a little bit more comfortable now to physically wear instead of the actual denim. This, though, no one else has.
This was our first iconic kit. And I don't love them. I think they look corny as hell, but they're American.
It's iconic, yeah.
And then the two that I brought up is the 2007 Copa America third jersey. It was this light blue kit that's the only time they wore it with this thin white pinstripe. I think Weeby has a Michael Bradley one of these. And it was like forever my favorite jersey. It's only $280 on eBay. So better to go to soccer.com and get official stuff now.
I think so.
Then you could sell it on eBay late in
your retirement
10, 15
plan.
years. Yeah, exactly. This kit, it was one that as a kid I always was obsessed with, never bought. And then the other one was in 2006 for the send-off of the World Cup. They did a special Don't Tread on Me 1950 throwback kit. So it's red with a collar, it has a sash, it has the old school USA logo, and then I believe the arm has the Don't Tread on Me snake, which US Soccer used to use pretty predominantly before. A bunch of people who wear masks and carry guns around for fun
co-opted it.
Started to take it over. So those are our favorite USMNT kits of all time. And this one I think is going to work its way. I think both of them, the blue and the red. And you said it when you were here last time. The blue in person.
Oh, we talked about
totally
this yesterday.
Yeah.
On TV, I love the home kit because it reminds you to Waldo. But live, the black kit, because you don't see like the stars don't pop up on TV, but live.
Well, it's blue too, and I think it looks blacker.
Yeah. And it's stunning. Yeah. In person, the away kit is
that what
stunning.
Intern Theo is wearing?
No, I believe he's wearing an older version
previous
of the kit.
version.
But I know Jordan Angeli has one here that we're waiting for her to put on when she gets here next week.
I'm still traumatized about the kits in 2022.
You thought they were bad?
Yeah. Worst kits in soccer history, not just the U.S. soccer history. Worst kits in soccer history. I remember the day, I think we were in Austin. It was one of the pre-World Cup camps. And
did Jesus Ferreira score a hat trick at Q2 Stadium against...
No, Pepe scored on that game.
Okay.
And we were dancing Pepas.
Nice.
You gotta ask Sam Stagel about that.
I don't know what you were pretending to just do, but yeah.
So I get to the training center, and the players are already, like the day before, did the photo shoots with the kids.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got there, I got people from US Soccer like, come here. He just like pulled me aside. Did you see the kids? But like, it's like, everyone is like like the players are losing their minds. And it's just like, well, like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, but, and then I saw them and it's like, I want to burn this jersey.
Well,
the away kit is okay. The white one.
Well, the new ones are tasty. The Mexico kits are elite, the black and the green. And you can go to soccer.com and put kickback in when you purchase, and you can get them and get your Gold Club membership. Let's get into quick previews of the day to come. We start after the U.S. with Scotland versus Morocco. So for the U.S., they'll play. We will then wait, so 5 o'clock, 8 hours to find out what happens in the Turkey-Paraguay game. But in the meantime, we will be digging into Group C. So we will have Scotland sitting on 3 points with the 1-0 win over Haiti versus Morocco sitting on 1 point after the 1-1 draw with Brazil. For Scotland, it was job done in the opening game, and now the job is, can you steal one more point here and lock yourself into the next round?
Yeah, Morocco are prohibitive favorites. In this one, they didn't look great against Brazil. They were entirely comfortable playing for that draw in the second half. There is off-field news. Achraf Hakimi is going to be prosecuted for rape charges by the French government. This has been brewing for a year and a half, almost 2 years now, I think, since this first came to light. And the government thinks they have enough evidence to make the charges stick.
We have
much bigger than soccer.
Yeah.
But from the soccer perspective, he's their best player. You wonder how this will.
Yeah, for sure. And Morocco, of course, will lean heavily on him as they have. But Morocco will lean heavily on what looks like the future of their national team already. As we have talked about, you mentioned some of the great young players in this World Cup. We have our level up presented by Football Manager 26. If you've played Football Manager 26, you know there's nothing like watching a player level up on your team, and we're doing the same here with Morocco's Ayoub Bouadi. Bouadi, just 18 years old, and in his first game in the World Cup against Brazil, really helped run this midfield.
Yeah, run being the operative word, because he does cover every blade of grass, but he's that rare young talent who has that kind of engine and that kind of range, but also has the technique and the tactical intelligence to sort of set the tempo while he's putting out fires and creating opportunities for the rest of his team. The biggest teams in the world have taken notice. The top teams in the Premiership. I don't think we've heard from Real Madrid or Barcelona just yet, but it wouldn't shock me.
I think they're only signing free agents of 32-year-olds and up.
Exactly. But he seems like a player with limitless potential, and to do what he did at 18 against Brazil in his World Cup debut, there aren't a lot of central midfielders who do that. Young players burst out on the scene. It's usually an attacker or a wide player.
He had a moment where he applauded a pass that was played into his feet on the field against Brazil in front of 80,000 people in the second half of a World Cup debut. That shows the composure, and then obviously...
It made me wish Adri Mehmeti was here for the U.S.
And obviously, as well, he gets them out into transition when he wins that ball quickly, which is key to this team.
And you can find it easy on social media. There's a nice picture of him as a 14-year-old watching Morocco get into the semifinals in the last World Cup in the stands with the Morocco jersey.
So cool.
He could have played for France.
Yeah.
He played with France until the U17.
U21, I think.
U21 already with 18, 19 years old. But not just him, but when you see the subs against Brazil, Morocco, the midfield, the average age of the Morocco midfield after the subs was 21 years old.
Yeah.
Talbi came in for Brahim Diaz, 20 years old. El Maroubet, 21 years old. Amoni, and I'm butchering this, Echgobab, 21 years old. This is the future, and you were talking about this when we were mentioning pre-World Cup about the future and the money that Morocco has invested. 2030, it's looking already pretty good for this team, and we're still, and they're coming from a semifinal, and why not another big run like that on 2026?
And El Khanous now has stepped into the starting lineup 22 alongside Bouadi. So two players in the starting lineup, not from the last cycle, that have stepped in young. And I think when you talk about being in the crowd watching, that's what winning gets you. like you win things, you're good. People are open to the conversation earlier rather than, well, let me get my France shot. And if I don't get it at 23, 24, maybe I'm ready to come back around. And DR Congo is the same, right? We did our segment 2 days ago for DR Congo. It was getting a player to commit at 22 and not have to wait until later in his career where he decides, okay, now I want to. Like, if you establish yourself as a federation people want to play for, you can get those players in at a younger age and build around them for a longer and longer time. Football Manager 26 International Mode is available now. You can download on Steam or your favorite console, PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo Switch. Plus, you can take advantage of the sale running from now through July 9th, and you can save 50% off in this one. All right, the Scotland fans have drank Boston Dry. Super John McGinn might be the #1 Red Sox player of the season. It's all wild vibes for that game. The second game in Group C, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Brazil, sitting on 1 point after the draw against Morocco, face off against Haiti, who of course fell 1-0 against Scotland. This is, for me, a vibes game. Growing up around a number of Haitians, they're all Brazil fans. Brazil is the team of Haiti. They will tell you stories about it being the only team during World Cups broadcast in Haiti through the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Yeah. The yellow, of course, the style. I think for a lot of people, the black stars on Brazil, whether it was Pele or down through the next generations. And there's this incredible story, which we've talked a little bit about on the show over the last few months. 2004, there was a match for peace that the UN ran where the Brazil national team came to Haiti and actually played in Port-au-Prince. Kaká was there, Ronaldinho was there, Ronaldo was there. Many people remember the famous videos of like a 19-pass goal and then everyone dancing on Brazil in the sun. That happened in that game. So the connection is really, really tight. And we had Duke Lacroix on this show a few weeks back. He plays Colorado Springs switchback, and he has been off and on a starter for this Haiti team. And he said it coming into the draw. I think Derek Etienne said the same. Like, we want the big names. Yeah. If you're here, you want to be here. And for Haitians, that means Brazil.
There's no bigger name still in the world of soccer, even though this Brazilian team did not play with it. They play like it in the first game. They lack the magic and the spark that we hope to see from the biggest teams, that frankly a lot of the biggest teams have already shown to us in this one. I wonder if there are going to be changes from Carlo Ancelotti. There have to be.
Yeah, we were talking about this. I was wondering what we were going to do with the number 9. Yep. Like Igor Thiago is not the answer. Yeah. I was shocked to see him being the first option.
You think it's Cunha?
I think Endrick's going to play.
Okay.
There's some.
This is a good game to do it in.
Ancelotti's still coaching.
I know. Well, there's obviously. It's difficult in Brazil and all the pressure and all the discourse around the team. But there's some reports that are pointing about Endrick. Mm-hmm. If not, it's going to be Cunha. It's not going to be Igor Thiago again. But at the end, you have the quality with Vinicius, with Rafinha, with Paquetá to play better. Mm-hmm. And it is about the same discourse that we're having with Portugal. That you have the quality to play better, and it's very frustrating. Of course, we're not asking that you play like Brazil 2002, which is probably the best national team World Cup winner of all time, alongside with, you guessed it, Brazil in 1970. So, and when I talk about the importance of Brazil in the world, in the continent, in Venezuela, when I grew up in the 90s, Brazil has if you go to Venezuela, the fan fest on a Brazil game are packed because Brazil was the team that Venezuelans adopted in the 90s because the Venezuelan soccer and Venezuelan national team was nothing, and there was not even in the discourse to ever being close to getting to a World Cup. So Brazil got adopted as like the second national team, so it's something close to Haiti. Today, if you talk with any Venezuelans or you see like videos in Venezuela with my friends, you will see like fan fest packed with Venezuelans on a Brazilian kid, because this is the best national team of all time in soccer. And it's infuriating how bad they play, especially compared to what we've seen historically. I still believe in this team. I still believe in Ancelotti. Yes, this is his first time as a national team coach, but we've talked about in depth with him. He's not a master tactician. Mm-hmm. He's a guy that can manage egos in teams, and that's something that in this Brazilian team in the last few years with Neymar in, Neymar out, and now Neymar on the team, That's on Ancelotti. I think he made a mistake bringing Neymar. But to his credit, maybe he knew something that Neymar's presence in the team was going to be a positive thing for these young players. We'll see. Not an easier first game against Morocco. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see today probably what we can expect from Brazil moving forward. And I expect this game to be, again, another example of the
gap.
The gap.
Yeah.
I
Haiti's going to be defending
Brazil
for
to
their
win.
lives for 90 minutes.
I expect Brazil to win this game comfortably.
Yeah.
If Brazil doesn't win this game 3-0, 4-0, I'll be extremely disappointed.
Yeah, Haiti has struggled in Gold Cups and stuff against teams at a higher level that are not on Brazil's level, but it's a big breakout game opportunity for Brazil. And for Haiti, you score a goal, it's a historic moment. Like, we're looking for these moments and experiences like this, but we've also seen Cape Verde do things we didn't expect, so you never know at this point. And then the night finishes at 11 p.m. Eastern time. The final game in Group D, Turkey, sitting on 0 points after the 2-0 loss to Australia, takes on Paraguay. And for both these teams, this now becomes the World Cup final. You've got one shot to reset yourself in the group. You assume that Australia and the U.S. don't tie, or even if they do, you'll know the result. These teams have a chance to move into a tie for first place, to set themselves up for a chance to go to the next round. They are not teams that know each other very well. The assumption is will be a similar game state for both these teams as last game. Turkey had 78% possession against Australia, and the U.S. had, 61 or 62
Something
against
like
Paraguay. You probably expect the number to be somewhere around there.
So I would. The thing that the U.S. did so well that really pulled the plug on Paraguay was the off-ball movement and the layered runs, which I've talked about, I think, ad nauseum on this show. Turkey gave us none of that against Australia. It was all pretty individualistic, and to be fair, their individual players are talented enough to go out there and just win this game. Like, they have a talent differential in their favor in this one. It's not huge, but it is big enough to be like, if Turkey play well, they could do that. But what Turkey needs to show is the ability to function as a team, and there was very little of that. The few times they did show it against Australia, they were actually getting into the box and getting looks, but too much settling for long no-hopers, especially Goulet coming in off that right wing. It was kind of ugly, and it looked indisciplined. Flip side, Paraguay looked wildly indisciplined and out of their depth against the U.S. They didn't know how to track runs. Like, go back and look at how many times one of the central midfielders, and their central midfielders are good, but look at how many times one of their central midfielders is tracking a late run between the fullback and the center back. Like, that is not something any coach in the world teaches. So I think there was a lot of film from those first games for both coaches to go over and be like, this is good and this is really, really bad. And if we do this again in the second game, we're going home. Both coaches have that ability to look at it. I actually kind of like Paraguay's chances in this one because I don't think they're going to play that bad 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
No.
The thing is, so if I was Alfaro, and this is not something he would do because he's more composed than I am, I would go with 5 in the back because of what I saw Australia do against Turkey.
Yeah.
And I would just take Sanabria out and go Enciso and Almiron up top in transition. And I would start Balbuena or someone like that as a third center back because you saw with Turkey, they won't try and connect through it. If that line is there, they will just shoot from distance. And so I would draw them into that. I would let them play that way. And I would assume that my speed can hit on the counter like what Australia did. I would basically try and set up to mimic what happened and see if you can make it work for you. And for Turkey, they obviously will have watched tape on what went wrong, but they won't expect it from Paraguay. And I think Paraguay was so bad that you need to just throw a curveball in here.
So now I'm going through Paraguay's result and like just scrolling back years to find the last time they played with 5.
Yeah, they don't. No. Under Alfaro, they haven't a single time.
Yeah.
But you were exposed in the last game. The other team did it well, and Sanabria has been dead weight on the team for all the games you're watching back through. Yeah. He's been dead weight in every single one of them.
I'm interested to see what attitude Turkey comes out.
Yeah.
Because pre-game, all we heard about Hakan Çalhanoğlu, it was we're going to dominate Australia.
Yeah.
Quote, we're going to dominate Australia. And then after the game, he insisted we were the better team, et cetera, et cetera. So
analytically.
But when, and because people are going to recognize the names, Çalhanoğlu, Inter Milan, Arda Güler, Real Madrid, Yildiz, Vincenzo Montella made some questionable decisions. Again, leaving Yildiz on the bench, leaving what people in Turkey call the real playmaker on this team, which is Can Uzun. He's like attacking midfielder from Frankfurt. So individually, Turkey is much better than Paraguay. And individually, you can make the case that Turkey is the most talented team in the group, including the USMNT. But what are you saying now, with the pressure of needing to win and getting a result today, with that bad attitude that Turkey came into the game against Australia, with the questionable decisions about Montella, I think we could see a team that is just going to implode. And I'm really curious to see how they manage that pressure, and that, because as far as I know, players are not happy.
Yeah, they didn't look it.
No.
And you saw it.
And it's been a problem in this group for a while. Not this group specifically, but this national team.
If they can start clicking and get a result today, that last game against the USMNT is gonna, and there's a crazy scenario, because this is where, to explain to people, where now head-to-head is the first tiebreaker, where the USMNT wins today and gets to 6 points. Yeah. Turkey wins tonight to 3 points. Then Turkey beats the USMNT.
And Australia.
And Australia beats Paraguay. There's a scenario where the USMNT goes as third in the group because of the head-to-head. Yeah. So this game, this is the rubber match of this.
Have we seen any updates on Andres Cubas? Because he was struggling at the end. He was subbed off at the end of the U.S. game. Did not look fully fit. Yeah. Paraguay is they need him taking up all the space in front of that back line.
Yeah. Okay. This is the end for us. I'm going to drop this here today, and if it goes well, I'll do it again. David Goss's picks. I'm going to say Turkey 2-1 over Paraguay. I'm going to say Brazil 4-1 over Haiti. I'm going to say Morocco 2-0 over Scotland, and the U.S. 2-1 over Australia for today. We will be back live with your USMNT postgame right here from New York City and on the SoccerWise pages, as well as a podcast. Thank you to all of you for listening. Thank you to all of you who are live and in the chat or watching later on. Thank you to you two. Thank you to Derek, Ben, not Connor, Steve, and Theo, and we'll talk to you all again very, very soon.